Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with me, your host. My name is Chad Medved. This is my show. Appreciate you being here with me this week. Some business to attend to first. If you are a fan of the show, you enjoy what I do, please take a second to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. That is a very huge help for me. Share it to, all your friends, let them all know about it, spread the word, help me get the word out there. That's a big help for me. If you want to support me a little bit extra, I have a Patreon. You could search I'll Call You Right Back podcast on Patreon. You could go to the link in my Instagram at I'll Call You Right Back and click on that. And that is a way for you to support the show. It has been much appreciated over the last few weeks with me starting that Patreon and anyone who got involved with that and anyone that just shares the episodes. It's a big help for me. So as a Pittsburgher, this is a pretty dope episode. So hopefully you feel it worthy to share it to your friends. This week, I sit down with entrepreneur, manager, co-CEO of Taylor Gang Entertainment, Will Dzombak. Will Dzombak is most well known for managing Grammy-nominated and Pittsburgh local Wiz Khalifa, probably one of the biggest rappers in the world. And all of us who grew up in Pittsburgh, I was bumping that dude's music from middle school up until, now. It's pretty crazy. Had a system in my Tiburon, and I used to just blow it out with, Star Power, with Cushion Orange Juice, with, every mixtape that he put out, honestly. It was just like part of the soundtrack to all of our summers. And this was a cool moment for me to be able to talk to Will, who is his manager. Like, he's been there since the beginning. We talk about their history and how their relationship began. Will, again, is Wiz's manager, and it started back whenever Will was in Penn State. He was a show promoter. He used to book shows up there, throw little events, and he booked Wiz Khalifa, and after that, it just kind of took off, and they've been taking over the world. Him and Wiz have been working together for over a decade now, and they just, you guys know who he is. You guys know who Wiz Khalifa is. What am I going to say that you guys don't know? It's a great episode. I was appreciative for him to, give me the opportunity to, come by and talk. And it was cool because, as people who, you got to call them as it is, as celebrities, literally one of the biggest rappers in the world. I think See You Again was the biggest rap song, in the world at one point. I don't know. It's crazy. But as celebrities, one of the things I asked them is like, what do you do to kind of give back to the community, to kind of help cultivate people that were once in the position that you were in? And basically he said, just be available. And that's what he was for me. Will was available to me. I hit him up. I asked him to come by and talk to me about Taylor Gang and everything that goes along with it. And he was more than happy. Came by on the weekend. We had a great conversation. We crushed about 4 liquid deaths each. And, we chatted about a lot of stuff. Talked about the history of Taylor Gang. We talked about, what the day-to-day of being a manager and co-CEO of a, label basically does. Talk about what the history of his, ascension into being Wiz's manager was like, and a lot more. So without further ado, episode 246. Oh, actually, before we get to that, follow me on Instagram at I'll Call You Right Back. Will has been cool enough. I'm going to give away a pair of tickets to the Wiz and Snoop Dogg show on July 18th at Burgettstown. The way you could enter that giveaway is I'm going to post the cover art of the podcast between like 9 and 10, usually on Thursdays, on my Instagram at I'll Call You Right Back. You will be able to comment a couple friends that, would like to get a ticket and, follow us. And then I will pick a winner, and I will pick a winner for a pair of tickets for the Snoop Dogg and Wiz Khalifa show on July 18th, which, if you've ever been to a Wiz show at Burgettstown, it's just a big smoke fest. Great time, super fun, and just good vibes. Like, who wouldn't want a chance to win some tickets to that? So Without further ado, episode 246 of I'll Call You Right Back podcast with Will Dzombak of Taylor Gang.
I gotta use the telephone.
Hello?
Telephone.
I'll call you right back. Call you right back.
Telephone.
I'll Call You Right Back podcast. Appreciate you coming over. Long time coming.
Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely. So first I want to know, how do you pronounce your last name?
Dzombak.
Dzombak.
It's Czech.
Czech?
Yeah, my grandfather's Czech, and that's where it comes from.
Mine's Medved. It's Croatian.
That's,
Just a stone's throw away.
you know, we're over there.
Just a couple of guys out here. So now, what is like your title, if I could ask first?
Honestly, I don't have a title. I don't really believe in them. To me, it's a never-ending group project, right?
Yeah.
So it's just one thing I learned early on is I can't do it without my team, and so we're all equal. No, like if someone wants a title, they can have a title.
So you're just all under one entity.
I'm just Will.
I like that. Well, I heard previously, like, and I did my research, and I didn't know some of the shit that I heard about. Like, you started out as like an assistant at first.
I was an assistant. Well, I fell in love with music because I was in a band in high school. So I
The
played
elderly?
the drums. The elderly, yeah. And we were like a Dave Matthews wannabe, right? But I fell in love
Fuck
with
yeah.
like rhythm and like how they moved. And
Are you from around here?
yeah, I'm from the East End.
Okay.
So I went to St. Bede. I'm
St. Bede?
from Bede.
I've never heard of that.
Yep. I'm from the East End, which is basically between Squirrel Hill, Bloomfield, Shadyside, Wilkinsburg, and East Liberty.
Yeah.
It's right there. So that's where I grew up. I think it's called St. Mary Magdalene now, maybe.
Okay. You have your little bio online, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's hard to find. Like, whenever I asked you your title, it's like I really didn't know about how this all kind of grew. It all kind of grew organically and pretty wild.
Yeah, and look, like I said, I'm not a believer in titles. It's just like it's a never ending group project. I need everyone on my team as much as they need me, and I can't do it without them. They can't do it without me, and that's how I look at it.
That's good.
And everyone's equals, you know. And
Now rewind a little bit. Now go back to whenever you said you were in a band in high school. It's like, what else? What other kind of shit were you into? Were you?
I was super into being a band. I definitely wanted to be a rock star, but I managed the band too. And
When did this start? What grade?
ninth grade.
And you were playing drums before that?
I was playing drums before that. My friend Ryan Gebler walked up to me and was just like, "Hey, we have this whole band. It doesn't have a drummer. Can we come over to your house and practice?" I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." and we all got along. But he unfortunately died of cancer right after college when we were 23, and it kind of killed my love for playing live music because he was the guy that, like, if he was playing the guitar, I would look at him and he was just having such a good time. It made me feel good.
Yeah.
And not having someone like that, that's
Lose
just
that spark.
it lost the spark, but I still love the business aspect of it. And so when I went to college, I went to Penn State.
Well, let me interject real quick.
Yeah.
What made you want to dive into like the business end of running a band? Because I've had a lot of friends in bands, and it always seemed to be like the end of it that everyone kind of shied away from.
We made $400 for doing one show, and that was like, we were basically Jay-Z at that point.
Yeah, for sure.
It was ninth grade. $400 was literally like $400,000.
And that just like kind of got you going into like, how can we get this going a little bit more?
I was like, I can't believe people actually make money on music. And I read articles about it. I read what different jobs were. And
well, how big was your band? Like, was it just like one of them like small things?
yeah, like we sold 200 tickets at Mr. Smalls.
Oh, that's dope though. Yeah, I mean, that's good.
It was cool. It was just our high school friends,
Yeah.
But it was just being able to apply money to real life situations, I think changed my life. Because, when you go to math class, you're like, this is fucking boring.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh, if we sell 20 tickets at $20.
Yeah. I heard you reference that article, that 1,000 fan article.
Yeah. I reference it a lot. And I was telling you before we got on air, a big thing I preach is just education about entertainment business and knowing what you're getting yourself into, like this is a podcast. I can swear. You wouldn't sell drugs if you didn't know how you were going to get your money. You know, it's the same thing with music. Why would you sell music if you don't know how you're going to get paid from it? And that's a big thing I preach. And, education in this entertainment is really important in to me, especially being from Pittsburgh, because that's one thing I didn't have an opportunity to get I was
just going to ask that, like, where did you source like you said you tried to take over the business aspect of your band. It's like, where were you getting your information from?
The internet. Literally, I was copying what pop punk bands were doing. There's a band from Pittsburgh called Transition.
Yeah.
Transition, the lead singer was Dan Smyers, who is now Dan from Dan and Shay.
Yeah.
But he was my high school buddy. And, and watching, they were really progressive in touring and leaving the city. And I was like, that is so cool. And just, I just asked questions a lot of questions. Like, how do you guys get paid? How do you make this work? Like, and he was nice enough to give me some insight, and it really got my brain going into the music, business side of things, especially the touring side, especially because that's when, the record business was in the shitter, when Napster and LimeWire and all that stuff were really going crazy. No one was making money on actual records because it was all free before streaming. And that's why we stress so hard touring, and we still do to this day. And it's like, building a real fan base, just not showing up to a club where people are going to be, whether you're X, Y, or Z. Yeah. It was cool. It was an education process.
Yeah. Sure. You guys are definitely always moving. You always seem to be like busy trying to, keep progressing.
Definitely.
That's kind of the goal, right?
Yeah. It's just,
Well, coming out of you playing this band and like going into like after high school, obviously if you're in high school and shit, you think you're going to become a rock star. What is your foresight, to, how you're going to make money in life, career wise?
I was in a fraternity, and we had a fraternity brother that unfortunately passed, and we had a charity event for him, and he loved Wiz. And so we were like, cool, if we can raise $1,000 for his family, that's great. We ended up raising like $4,000 or $5,000, and it was, I learned how the business. I'm like, wow, you can really make a lot of money off these concerts, especially up at Penn State where there was an opportunity.
What made you want to go up there? Like, what were you majoring in?
Business, standard.
Yeah.
And then I eventually made my own major. I graduated with an integrative arts major, which is worthless.
Yeah.
But
made it work.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of.
Now, if you're up there and you go for business, you said you started promoting shows. Mm-hmm. Like, what makes you want to try to do that? Just a stream of revenue, and you're interested in it?
Stream of revenue. I knew how to do it just based off of what we did in high school.
Was there not like someone up there that was really putting shit together?
No, there was a bar called the Crow Bar that closed when we were seniors in 2006. So I got up there in 2000, fall of 2006, spring 2007. I was like, oh wow, there's the arena or nothing. So all these small bands that are trying to connect from Philadelphia to Cleveland, they need somewhere to go on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They play cheaper.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's 40,000 kids here. We all kind of like the same music.
Yeah.
Layup.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. I heard you say in a previous one that you weren't like a big hip hop head. So wasn't. What kind of bands were you like booking? Indie
pop
rocks, pop punk, stuff like
when
that.
That drive-through record scene was like huge.
Wow.
That was like kind of my thing. Then, like, I've always liked hip hop, but like I wasn't.
No, I mean, I'm the same way. I grew up in like the emo phase. I'm listening to Chiodos, all these bands like that.
Are you going to Blink next week? Like that's still my scene to this day. Like,
yeah. It's gonna be wild for sure. The Blink shows. It's wild to see them like kind of come back, and
it's crazy.
It is.
And I've used my quote unquote hip hop fame. I just go meet my pop punk heroes.
I know, it's wild.
Like, I'll DM them like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
How do you know about us? I'm like,
There was a story before this one, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so you said that you had this benefit show for your friend who passed, and that was like your first initiation with Wiz?
Yeah, when I was in college. Yep.
Now, what's like the scope of his, like, what year was that?
I was during grow season, like right before Young and on His Grind came out.
Okay, yeah. So it wasn't like, he wasn't like super big.
No.
Okay, so now for you to get him up there I assume it was an easy, connection and to bring him up there?
Yeah. Another friend, you know how small Pittsburgh is.
For
a friend
sure.
of a friend connected us, and it was just like, hey, we want to do a concert. They were like, his manager at the time was like, hey, this is what, how to make it work.
You made it work.
Boom.
Now, pretty much everything kind of just grew from there.
Yeah. Wiz and I stayed in touch. He ended up staying, like, I was like, we have money to pay you, but we don't have enough money to get you a hotel.
Yeah.
You can stay at my apartment. Right. And, we were all 19 at the time. So
is he the same age as you?
He is 9 months older than me.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
But we graduated high school the same year.
Yeah.
Both 2006. He graduated from Alderdice. I graduated from Central Catholic.
Okay.
But, came up and they're supposed to spend the night, and they ended up staying like Wiz, Lonnie, Sledger, and Chevy for 5 days, and we just broed out. And Wiz and I stayed in touch after that. I was just like, "What do you think about this and this?" And
so
he was like, "Do you want to be my assistant?" I was like, "Yeah, that'd be sick."
Well, what kind of like what made you recognize something in him? Because obviously you're like on a path to do something and you're promoting shows. For you to like kind of attach yourself to this entity, did you recognize him as being something crazy?
100%. He did a show at our fraternity for 350 people and performed like he was the rock stars that I idolized at the time. And I was like,
just every
this
year.
Is insane.
Or every show just out there all 100%.
Yeah, the first show we did together, he came out like, he was Bert from The Used. And I was like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
This dude's from Pittsburgh, we're the same age, this is hip hop, like this is awesome.
Yeah.
It blew me away. And ever since then he's been my favorite rapper. Like, I think he's just an amazing guy, and seeing him perform is always elevated us and him, and that's why I think we've been able to keep things rolling forever.
Yeah, if you're working with the same people you have been for almost 3 decades now, almost. 2 decades. We're not that.
We're not that.
I hope not. But it's like for you guys to kind of start to work together. You said, oh yeah, you'll be an assistant. What is that? Like, what's the day to day of an assistant? Are you just rolling joints?
That sounds like the dream, but it's like there's a real business aspect to it.
I know.
It's flights. It's what time do we got to be there?
Okay, so
do this. Who back then Uber didn't exist. Who's picking us up? Let's call Tom, this random guy, when we land in Indianapolis. Like,
so those were your duties. Was kind of like logistics of everything.
Yep, and that's a a big part of keeping the shit rolling is having a good back end. Like,
all starts up front.
There's plenty of stories about rappers not miss. Wiz has missed 4 shows in 15 years.
Yeah.
I can count them on one hand. You know, because he takes it serious. He's a businessman, but we also prep in advance. And it's, he asks questions. What time do I got to be here? What time's my flight? If a flight gets canceled, what's the backup plan? It's a real business.
Now, did you like inquire with him while you were up there, or did he just say do you want to be my assistant? Like, what do you think he noticed in you? Just you being able to put together this show and make it run smoothly?
I think so. I think he saw my vision for keeping things rolling and finding new opportunities and all that. And
you weren't just I'll put it together. You're someone that's going out there and finding things, going the extra.
And we talked about it. Back in the day, our hustle was colleges, and hip hop artists were not playing colleges at the time.
Yeah.
So explaining to him this is a party that goes on. There's gonna be 500 people there. We should go perform our songs. It'll make you more famous. People are gonna be like, oh, that's super cool, and it was just a different hustle than what was going on in 2008.
What was your mindset as far as what if he wasn't there? What were you planning to do?
I have no fucking idea.
I figured that, right?
You know, like I didn't have a plan at the time. I knew I wanted to be in music. I knew I loved music. I loved the business of it.
Yeah.
I didn't have a plan of what I wanted to do. I thought for a while, I wanted to work for someone like a Live Nation or an AEG and be like a promoter, a buyer. It's just a stressful business. And I really liked being on the opposite side and building a brand.
Yeah.
And building something I believed in, especially a hometown thing.
Were you always someone that went further and educated yourself to like try to get ahead of the game?
Yeah, I educated myself, but in different ways. Like I loved researching how bands toured, how far was too far,
Yeah.
where did they go after Pittsburgh, where did they go after New York.
Oh, that's interesting.
And it was something that I applied. I mentioned I thought Wiz was like Burt McCracken from The Used, right? And I was like, if we can tour like they tour, maybe like we're from Pittsburgh, we're not going to get fans, so we got to go build them fan by fan like these pop punk bands do. But rappers at the time were only playing arenas or nothing.
Ain't it incredible though, the whole pop punk scene? Because like I said, I graduated in 2008, and like that was every weekend for me. Is like going to different shows, the Subculture, Octane, Mr. Smalls, all these places, Irish Center. It's just like that was a different time. It's not like that anymore.
Random VFW.
Oh my God!
But that's what I think. I pressed on Wiz. He was like, "We're gonna jump in a van. We're gonna tour." Okay. He was cool with it. He's like, whatever we got to do to get fans. And that's what like even further drove my curiosity and like, hey, I think this is gonna fucking work.
Yeah.
He just kept, and like when we headlined Bamboozle, I was like, fuck these motherfuckers. Yeah. We just killed it.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Now in the beginning, it's like, for him to have you as an assistant, how does the promotions not promotions, that's kind of a weird word, but how does the level up start to happen?
I think it's just it's built on trust.
Yeah.
Like as we got to know each other better and better.
What's after an assistant?
Well, I was an assistant, then I was his road manager, then tour manager, then co-manager, and now we own Taylor Gang together. I manage him.
Yeah.
I run our entire enterprise, and just we're best friends and business partners.
Yeah.
And that's really how I look at it at this point. Like we run a huge company together, and we have our other best friend Josh that's involved too, who has been unbelievable and for Wiz and I.
Now, what is like the growth of you guys as a unit back then? You guys start working together, you start touring, things start going well, but what is your mindset? Because like we were just saying, the scene of like 2008, 2009, whenever all these shows and like the whole like hip hop scene was booming like that, what was your mindset to try to almost like predict what to do? Like how were you guys having an outlook for that?
For me, I thought it was so cool that Wiz signed to a major record label, being from Pittsburgh, being my age, being like a peer, and I wanted to show off for people, honestly, like.
What year did he get signed to Rostrum?
He got signed to Rostrum in 2005.
And this is 2007 that you're talking, that we're at?
But Rostrum was just an indie label.
Yeah.
Rostrum negotiated the deal with Warner Brothers, and that was like the cool thing. Do you remember the song "Say Yeah"?
Yeah,
it's the Alice DJ sample. That was the
everyone
song.
Does.
Yeah, that was the song that really did it. But that's why we also fell out with Warner Brothers, because they were like, just keep making these dance songs. Wiz was like, that's not who I am. Like I did it, and but that's the cool thing about Wiz. He can do all these genres. He's like, I did that, but that's not who I am.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm not going to just make this song over and over again.
Yeah.
And then we got dropped.
Huh. What year was that?
2008 we got dropped, and then we got re-signed in 2010 to Atlantic. Atlantic and Warner are owned by the same company.
Well, what happens in them 2 years?
We dropped all those mixtapes. Flight School, Star Power, Burn After Rolling, and took the internet by storm. That's when selling records was in the shitter, right? So free music was everything. So by that point, I had convinced Wiz, like, yo, dude, we can get, and Wiz was intrigued, like, dude, we can go do a show and get $2,000. This was like I said earlier, like, we're Jay-Z.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like $2,000 in 2007 in Pittsburgh, It was like 200 grand.
You
You're
think
like,
about how many years in the beginning that he's doing shit and not getting paid. The same thing with you. It's like you're doing this shit to just, these are opportunities. Like I've been doing this podcast. Like the first time I started making some money from it, you're like, I'm fucking doing it. And it's like, it's cool to feel.
let's go buy bottles downtown. But it feels so good because you're like, I can't believe I started this thing and I can't believe this shit makes money.
And it re-energizes you to like keep going.
Yes, dude. Yes. And it's
that's
like,
how I feel.
It makes you think bigger than like, it's like, cool.
One possibility
level one.
lays you go to different possibilities over there. And it's just like possibilities that you can make happen.
Yeah. And that's what I say about music. Like music, I think our team, it's just, I did career day at Central the other day and I use this as an example. I just said, it's a never ending group project.
Yeah.
Like there's no I in team. Like there isn't, especially for us. Like we need all the team members, everyone plays their role and everyone's equal. And
yeah, you always see people like Lonnie's been on here before. So like I always see, we follow each other. You guys are always just seem to be having a great time. Like a bunch of brothers hanging out.
Yeah. And look, like it's what we project on the internet is different than what goes on behind the scenes. It's hard working with your friends.
I get it for sure.
Have our struggles, but like at the same time, like I can't do it without Lonnie. Like
that's what I'm saying. It's like your brother.
If we're gonna get rushed at a show, like what am I gonna do? Nothing.
And he's just gonna come over and throw people.
But Lonnie, like that's why I'm proud of him. He's matured from just throwing people around to being like, everyone stop.
Yeah.
And like learning like how to control multiple people and being like a real security guard. And we were all just figuring out in the beginning, and he does way more than that. And he's built his high roller business. I couldn't be more proud of that guy.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Shout out to Big Lon.
High rollers is on fire and
I know it's killing it.
So proud of him.
Now for you guys to like start to, when do you start feeling, like it's happening to the, like kicking it into a different gear?
When we could do shows that had more than 100 people, not in Pittsburgh, I was like, we are fucking awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's a cool way to look at it.
To me, it was just like,
well, how did you build that following at different like cities and everything?
Wiz was just really good at promoting his stuff on the internet. He was getting a lot of love on the internet, and I'm not going to take anything from Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy did everything first. But you know what I mean? Like, Wiz was on Twitter early and connecting with his fans. And
that's what I was going to ask.
Really changed. Like, people felt a connection to him, so they would come and support. And, between Breeze, Lonnie, shout out DJ D's in the beginning, like, whoever could make the show that weekend was like, let's go, not like we're making money. We're getting $500, but get $500 in Indianapolis was like, this is sick.
Yeah, it's like we're spreading. It's like every time it's here, more people are going to start to hear about it and come over.
100%. Yeah,
that's cool. That's cool to like hear that like organic growth with everything, and because especially now, because obviously he's like one of the biggest rappers in the world, so it's like to see people come from your city and like, see them early on shows. I think I saw him in like 2009 down where the Riverhounds play now. I think it's
right. Light Amphitheater.
Yeah, it was right whenever Black and Yellow came out because they shot
Girl Talk.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, that was wild.
Yep,
it was definitely.
And we're still
wild.
friends with Greg. Like Greg, he just produced half of Wiz's last album, Multiverse.
Yeah,
and they did an album together called Full Court Press.
Yeah.
Girl Talk, Wiz, Smoke Dizza, Big Crit, the features from Currency, like
I know, big stuff. I mean, and that's another dude that's, I kind of have just been seeing, and he's just still popping up and just like killing it. It's pretty wild to see like all the traction that kind of started to grow.
He's a guy that looked out for us very early on when when Girl Talk, when we were in high school, Girl Talk was the fucking man. Like he was killing. Not that he's not anymore, but he was like,
he was already on.
He was selling 10,000 tickets, and they were like, who do you want for your opener? And he was like, Wiz Khalifa from Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that's dope.
And it's really nice to be able to return the favor, do a show, with him, or an album with him. Like later, like we're putting a festival together. It's that's that Pittsburgh shit.
Yeah. To see them same type of people, keep growing and be able to do stuff all them years later. Yeah, that's dope for sure. Now, I mean, your role as someone who wanted to not just be someone in this group, but to be like a key member of this and like try to build this and try to, capitalize on everything. What was like, some of the steps that you took? Like, I mean, you didn't go to school to be a music manager. It's like, is it just like trial by fire, learn as you go?
Yeah, I learned more by just being hands-on and on the ground than anything. Than anything school could have taught me. My experiences, that's where I learned it all. Just being out and about, seeing people, and like you said earlier, your net worth is your network. That is how I live my life. I've learned that as I get older. You can have any fucking degree if you can't do anything with it, if you don't know anybody.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy. And it's all about who you know.
It's all about who you know, how you treat people. People want to do business with people that they're friends with and that are easy to do business with.
Yeah. And if you notice it, it's like, people always got shit that's like getting started up online. You don't really see a lot of shit with like Wiz or anyone in Taylor Gang.
But that's we like keeping it 100. And when you do, you got to be like, it's not actually true. Because most of the time, if it's something negative, it's not. And if it's something positive, hell yeah.
Yeah, but it's like keeping that be a good human being type of energy. And you're going to have people that want to keep fucking with you if you're not a piece of shit, if you're not a complicated person.
Yep.
And come with a lot of baggage.
Totally.
It's interesting. What was how did the whole interaction with Currency kind of bleed into all this? Was he just a fan of Wiz online?
Wiz was a fan of Currency's.
Yeah.
And he DM'd him on Twitter, and Currency didn't hit him back at first, and then Wiz got a little more traction and DM'd him again, and Wiz was just like, I'm just going to come down there and fuck with you.
Hell
and
yeah.
They hung out
That's like me and Sally Wiggin. I wasn't big enough in the beginning, but then I hit her again, and she was like, "Let's do it." I was like, "Let's go, baby."
Sally Wiggin, let's go. Know. Yins are legend.
I know, legends. It's cool to be able to obviously I'm in no realm of what you guys are, but it's something that I've been really working at and building it. And if you're committing to something for half of a decade, I'm about to be I'm 5 years into this. It's how we were talking about kind of recharging. Your feeling about what you're doing and the possibilities and just running yourself ragged. What do you do for your mental, for you to have to obviously you got a lot of plates up in the air spinning as a manager now, but all these people coming up, it's how do you manage your life and your mental and how do you keep sane?
Working out. Yeah. I love running. Running is my godsend.
How many miles you be running?
Anywhere from 2 to 10. Depends on how much time I have in the morning. But if I don't run, my whole day is thrown off. That's the first thing I do when I wake up, before I eat, before I do anything.
Was this before, was this before the whole Taylor Gang, fitness end?
Yeah. I ran cross country in high school.
Oh, wow.
So I've just always known the
different type of nuts.
Yeah.
People always on the cross country. I'm going to run 20 miles today. This girl in high school I was friends with, she would run to my house and I would drive her back home. Just you're fucking nuts.
Yeah, nuts. But it honestly, it just makes you feel so good. Runner's high is a real thing. And I'm a total insane person if I don't run. And I know that about myself.
Yeah.
So it's I make that a...
Are you a list guy? Are you someone that writes lists and
everything?
Yeah?
Oh yeah.
Have you always been like that?
Everything down. I write it down. I put it on a list on my computer. But I know I learn by writing. So that's why I
retain shit like
even
that.
If I write it down, I put it on the computer too. And but I know I'm retaining it because I wrote it down. And it's okay, we got to figure this out. And that's a big part of my how I treat it like a real job. If I don't treat it like a real, it doesn't have to be a real job. But if you don't, then it's not.
Then you could get lazy on it.
I go to work every day. Go to my office. I sit there. I have a schedule. I do calls.
What's a day to day for you now?
Get up, run.
Are you someone that is dealing with other managers or yo, I'd like to have him featured on our track,
everything you can imagine. Look, we're entrepreneurs, so different ways to make money. Are we going on tour? Are we doing another track? What problems do we have? What's going on with our label? What press are we doing? what are the logistics for the shows? Like it's endless.
Like different business opportunities. To bring that up, like you were talking about different business opportunities, and I know you guys work with Liquid Death. Liquid Death. We're both drinking Liquid Death right now. How does like this partnership kind of come into play? Like, how do you recognize what's going to be something that you guys want to get involved with?
It's what I said earlier. Your network is your net worth. This got Liquid Death presented an opportunity through a friend that I've known for years, and he was just like, "Hey, explain it to me." I was like, "That's pretty cool." Like, I think Wiz would get it.
Yeah.
Presented it to Wiz. Wiz was like, "That's really cool. I get it." Like, and then we looked at the actual business, and we were like, "That's really cool."
Who's the dude? Like, where did this really start?
So, Liquid Death was started by a guy named Mike. Mike used to work at Netflix in marketing, and he is just wicked smart. The whole point of Liquid Death is
death to plastic,
death to single-use plastic.
Yeah,
right, because that's destroying our oceans. It's recyclable.
The aluminum can is the most recyclable piece that you could have. I spoke to Allegheny Clean Works, and this was the drink that she chose, and I was interested about that because she's not like, a younger kid. So I was like, "What do you want to drink?" She said Liquid Death. And I was like, it kind of intrigued me. Mm-hmm. And that was like the first time I like really tried it. And she explained the whole like back end behind everything. She was like, "Oh, this is recyclable." And before that, I would have people over and they would be just crushing water bottles of Deer Park, and it's just all plastic.
So it's terrible.
It is. It's terrible, but it's a cool business model. And their marketing is like crazy.
I'm plastic water bottle, right?
It's all right. We all have our demons.
Yeah, but it's a great investment. Their marketing, everyone says this is the best marketing since Red Bull.
For sure, absolutely.
Mike is just so smart, so creative. Like with Wiz, Wiz invested, but he also got sweat equity, and like they were like, "Be you." So our commercial with Liquid Death is like this super high end commercial where you're gonna think something, and they pour water into a bong and it goes, "The world's best bong water." It's like,
where's that even played? I feel like I've never seen that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got to look at it.
And did you watch like their Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah, with the kids getting all fucked
and then it's like a pregnant lady. You're like, this is fucking so smart.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like we were saying before, I like the weird shit. I like the edgy stuff. I don't want just like the cookie cutter stuff.
100%.
And I think that that's like also what's something that like kind of Wiz brought to, music and to the city. Like, I mean, obviously it was like anthems growing up, one after another, after another, after another. And it's cool to be able to like, still see, I mean, more relevant now than he ever was, right? So it's crazy. And for you guys to like still be working together, I feel like that always like really says something about it.
Definitely. That's the definition of Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh people like the same thing. They like loyalty. They like, and we push each other to grow. Like, I've never wanted to be a rapper. And, like
you never got on the mic at all?
Fuck no. But that's like, I'm so intrigued by the business end, and I think that's why he's like, this is awesome, because like I'll be like, this person. He's like, great, let's meet him, let's work.
Yeah.
And it's always how do we get better? How do we be first?
That's always something you guys have always like kind of been on, is like the edge of everything.
That's what we try super hard, and it's like he's not always the biggest artist in the world, but he's always learning and growing, and that's something I think is super cool, and that's why it's great, working with your friends where you can be like, "Yo, check this shit out. What do you think?" And then it's either some shit like is super great, like Liquid Death. We also like try to, some food companies, and we're like, this shit sucks.
Yeah.
But it's cool to be able to have that dialogue and be like, yeah, the business makes sense, but like, this shit sucks.
Yeah, and be able to like try things and not have it like completely break you, but like, just try things out.
Yep.
Now, for you guys to like, make it, I hate bringing up like the pandemic stuff, but I'm interested as far as like what the whole music scene was like, whenever kind of like the world shut down. Was that like a super crazy time?
It was stressful. We sort of, we did a lot of merch things, and like,
that's what I was going to bring up. We were always talking about like, we were just saying like you guys are kind of like on the cutting edge of things. And I remember Taylor Gang was dropping a bunch of merch and like trying to still have like the different revenue streams and not just be stagnant.
Totally. And like, the thing that got fucked up is like Nikki Diamonds, who runs Diamond Supply, is one of my very good friends.
Yeah.
And Nick was like, dude, our fucking, all these jackets aren't going to make it. I was like, fuck. Like it was like the 10-year anniversary of Cushion Orange Juice. We had all this shit set up for a merch collab. It was awesome. He was like, everything sucks. I was like, God damn it. But we rebounded from it and just learned how to grow. And it was super successful. It just didn't launch till July.
Yeah.
Our 420 collab in July. But like we did that. The online concerts.
Yeah, like what?
They were weird.
It's weird, right?
We did them because people sell ads, right?
Yeah.
Like so it's like you just get a lot of people there, sell ads on the side, whatever.
Yeah.
It was a paycheck. We tried it. We did it.
It's not the real thing.
It was awkward.
Like I can't do I've never done a Zoom interview. I just I can't do it. It just sounds. I mean, it's missing something.
Yeah, I've done them. You know, it is what it is because it's all about content and keeping content rolling.
For sure.
It's tough. It's being in person is a lot better.
What do you think is different about, today trying to grow a brand? Because obviously you guys are established and you've been established for some time and you were able to do that before this like world of like oversaturation. Mm-hmm. It's like, do you think that it's a little bit more difficult now for anyone that's coming up?
It's definitely more difficult, but
it's not impossible.
Not impossible, but what we look at is things that are bigger than us. Like we're involved with a liquor called McQueen and the Violet Fog that has nothing to do with Wiz because we want the brand to be bigger than Wiz.
Yeah.
Liquid Death has nothing to do with Wiz. We want it to be a household name, and integrating that into your lifestyle is something that has always made sense for us in growing brands. Like there's so many brands that are just around for 3 or 4 years and then you never hear of them again. We only do things that are like
longevity,
long term, that make sense, that and that are believable.
Yeah.
Like, we're never going to do like Wiz Khalifa and Barbie, like it doesn't make sense, but like that's why we sell liquor, water, like Wiz works all the time, water, like we sell cannabis. Obviously that makes sense, things in our wheelhouse that are true to us.
That makes sense to like still to still be able to have that level of authenticity.
Yep.
Rather than just like a cash grab.
Exactly, because there's so much out there and people can see right through it. They'll be like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Cool, Wiz, and
Are you a control freak?
Am I?
Yeah, Would you say you were?
I'm not a control freak. I love being organized.
Yeah. You like being in the know of everything.
Yep. Like one thing I learned through a previous business associate was he was a control freak, and it's in our world. You got to have trust. You got to have loyalty.
That's what I'm getting at. It's like, how did you always have that mindset of being able to? I guess in this,
not always, but going through the negative experiences of having a control freak. Spearheading everything, was like that's some shit I'm never gonna do.
Oh, that makes sense. To see what the values that you liked with that person and the things that you disliked with that person that you weren't gonna, you were choosing to avoid.
Mm-hmm. And it's like he tried to be like, okay, if you want to talk to anyone, like go through me first. And it's like,
that's understandable.
No, like that's we're not doing that.
What's like your mindset of developing your own brand and like going down that into that world?
I just don't want to work for fucking anybody.
Yeah, I guess that would make sense, right? If you guys are already like like what level?
And it's like a puzzle, right? Like I've always been like I was saying earlier, I've always been intrigued by the music business. So figuring out how the puzzle works within music just always got my brain going. Like, oh, like we can do this and then this, and it's like,
well, when you guys started, like, was that something that was like already in your mind that we eventually wanted to work up to having, Taylor Gang be our own like label, or was that something that developed after you guys were like, shit's starting to happen, why can't we do this ourselves? We could do it the right way ourselves.
I think early on Wiz recognized like whatever we do, we need a company too, you know, to like run shit through it. So that's how it honestly started. We were 22 years old. Like we need our own company. We were saying Taylor Gang, let's actually
make it something.
Yeah.
Huh. Now, I mean, like being young, like 22, while all this shit is going on, it's like, do you have any sort of you know, before you established yourself, was it like difficult for you to like make these things happen? Obviously, whenever you have relationships built now, it's a little bit easier, but to create these relationships in the beginning, is that hard to like prove yourself as a manager and as someone, as a business person?
It's just weird, you know, like I don't think about it like that.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, I got to do what we got to do.
Yeah.
You know, but
let me rephrase it then. Was it
Yeah.
easy for you to gravitate towards this professional lifestyle to a different caliber than just promoting at a college?
it was not, because it wasn't something that existed at the time. Right. So I was like making my own lane, you know, like,
What do you mean it didn't exist?
I don't think being a tour manager was glorified, or doing shows like that were glorified, or like coming up with a strategy.
Oh, yeah.
It's
That
few and
makes
far
sense.
between. But now, because information is so accessible,
Yeah.
everyone has their lane. You know, like you'll see someone verified on Instagram. It's like, what are you doing? I'm a videographer. Like,
Yeah.
what?
It's
you
insane.
know, like it's crazy, but it's all about smoke and mirrors, you know? And like, that was what was intriguing to me. Is like, I like figuring out puzzles. So figuring out this puzzle of the music industry before it was so glorified was what was cool to me.
That's fascinating.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it is from an outsider's point of view. Obviously, you're in this world all day, every day, and it's something that you're probably kind of desensitized to it. But for me to like be someone that's kind of like, I have no one. This is all me. I source everyone. I research everyone, post everything. It's cool to be able to like, you know, have someone that has been able to navigate through and be able to like have like a more not risky, so to see, but more adventurous mindset to like try different things and try to like make some things happen, rather than just like, you know, kind of just march to the beat of someone else's drum that they were doing the same way.
Yeah. But look, that's what you're doing with this. This is entrepreneurial, and that's what's cool. You know, like, this is hard. It's hard to keep a schedule. It's hard to like figure out even how to do this shit, you know? Like,
Yeah.
And that's what gets my brain going.
Why don't you guys have a podcast? Why isn't there a Taylor Gang podcast?
We're working on it.
Okay.
You know, but you got to stand out. Everyone's doing the same fucking thing, so we got to find our angle.
Yeah.
Find a good partner that supports like what we want to do, where we want to go. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, Snoop has GGN. Like if Wiz just threw up a podcast,
That makes
we
sense.
got to find our angle and like what makes us different.
Yeah, you want to come correct.
and not just sit there all day and
Just
you know,
bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's a good point.
Because we have day-to-days, we have this. So it's like, if we're directing fans to a certain content point, what's our value add?
Yeah. What was the most valuable thing in the beginning as far as like content wise? Like what
Day-to-day.
that had to be, right? Because like
yeah.
as a friend or as like a fan of everything, that was like you know, it's almost like it's the closest thing you had to a podcast. That's why I love a podcast, is because, you know, someone could go on Ellen DeGeneres and give their 5-minute pitch about like their album that's coming up or things like that. I want to hear about like how they got involved. That's why I'm doing this, but it's cool to see the visuals behind everything. So the day-to-days were dope.
Day-to-days, game changer. And I feel like everyone does them now, but like, you know, everyone said it's like a brand name. People are like, oh yeah, I'm making a day-to-day. You know, it's like Wiz curated that. Like,
Yeah.
And it was cool. And it's different because people they come up to me and they'll be like, I feel like I know you. Like, I know everything about you. I'm
Yeah.
like, shit, you know more about me than I know about me.
Yeah.
You know, like, fuck.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume that's usually how it is. Like if people have been listening to people for their entire lives, or not their entire lives, but a majority of their life, you feel like
From
you
high
could
school
relate.
to adulthood. You know, and
you
like,
grow with them.
yeah, and I'm learning that, like, you know, we're not 21 anymore, you know, but seeing the fans of the show, people will come up to me and be like, you know, I love meeting fans. I'm like, hey, like, what's up? And they're like, dude, like, I've followed you since you were 21. Like, I feel like we grew up together. I'm like, that's, you know, it's crazy to think about.
Is that weird for you guys?
It's not weird. It's hard to like. It's so interesting. It's just such a blessing, because it's like, I can't believe like
That this is what it is.
Yeah, like this random kid from Australia is like, I've known you forever. Like, like I feel like we're best friends. I'm like, God, It's crazy, but it's the power of the internet, and it's the power of how society is changing, and it's cool to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's cool. It got to be cool to be an established brand while this is all happening, where you could utilize these things. It's like, are you guys? I'm not a TikTok guy really, but are you guys like a TikTok people?
Wiz is into TikTok just because he keeps up with the trends.
Yeah.
And I push our artists to use it. We do a lot of phone calls with them, but I personally am not.
Yeah, are you a social media guy? Like
medium.
Like you're not every day, all day on there, but you interact when you can.
I gotta use it, but I'm an Instagram and Twitter type of guy. I don't use my Facebook even anymore.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, how important is it for artists to, keep up with these trends? Because like my wife was like, you're fucking yourself not being on TikTok, just posting clips and everything like that. And I know I am, and I got to. But is that something as a manager that you stress to your artists?
It's just,
you got to be on the timeline. You got to be in the algorithm.
What's going on?
Yeah,
it is what it is. Like,
how many people are on the label now? Like more than 10?
8.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, as far as like growing that, do you have like a, you guys are obviously to a different point now, but it's like, what are you looking at as artists? Like, is it just like hip hop? Are you trying to expand?
We're into everything. Like, that's what's so exciting about Wiz. He can exist in so many different genres.
Yeah.
So EDM, rock, country.
That's a good point. Okay. Now, what are your goals personally?
My goals are to grow the city, is to really press. Like, people are always like, why do young people leave the city? Because there's nothing fucking to do.
Yeah.
And like, let's find stuff to do. Let's like the other night, me and my girlfriend trying to go out to dinner at 9:00. There was nowhere to go except bullshit. And it's like, this is why no one fucking stays here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to change that narrative.
Yeah.
And like,
why do you think that is?
We are
we're behind,
blue collar, but we're behind, and we're not getting new people here. We're not growing companies. It's just not cool right now.
How do you think you could improve on that? By doing your part in growing companies and bringing, interesting things here?
Just creating excitement about Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There is good things going on here. There's got to be a balance of stuff to do and companies coming in.
Yeah.
It's hard to pitch a company to come in and it's like, oh yeah, but if you want to get dinner after 9,
yeah, you're screwed.
Go to McDonald's.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
And that's I think the Ritual House is cool. What Del Frisco's is doing is cool, but there needs to be more of a culture of young people doing things, people, clubs trying, exciting activities happening, and people need to go out to more shows, and it's all around just tough.
What do you do as, a manager with a platform like you do to kind of, let's say, give back to the city as far as musicians? How do you kind of factor in what you guys were able to achieve to create resources?
I think to me, it's just being about accessible.
Yeah.
I like being able to get in touch with people. I like people asking me questions. It's not like giving them the real.
Yeah.
When people are like, oh, I want to be an artist, it's like, cool. Do you know about publishing? Do you know about royalties? Do you know about this? Do you know about that? And I'm like, cool. Well, music is a business. You're not just an artist.
Yeah.
And that's why I applaud Wiz for. He knew about all that before I did.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, we got to make money in this and this and this and this and this and this. And it pushed me to learn.
Yeah.
And that's what I push on people is you're getting in the music business. You're not just getting into music. If you want to make music, just make music and put it out and don't ask for anything in return.
Yeah.
If you want to be in the music business and get rich and famous, learn about what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. What is your outlook on the music scene in the city right now? Do you think that it's a strong scene right now?
No.
Yeah, it's I feel like it was a few years ago, 5-6 years ago, but then shit kind of just didn't seem as buzzing as much. Why do you think that is?
I think people are looking for what I call get rich quick schemes. Yeah. They don't want to put in the work. They don't want to develop a brand. They're just I just want to have a song, get on TikTok, and boom. Yeah. And it's just not how it works.
How do you as a manager whenever people approach you, obviously you said you want to be accessible to people. I know you have a lot of people that probably reach out to you. How do you kind of like, differentiate with the people that are just like trying for these get rich quick compared to like the people that are, like working?
I mean, I shoot people straight. Like,
yeah.
This ain't it. Or
yeah,
I'm just not interested, or I don't have time, know, but like, if I'm into something, I'll be into it. But if I'm not, like,
yeah, can't fault you to not.
Music is a subjective thing. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just what you're into. Like, I can't go and be passionate about something that I'm not passionate about.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way it works. Like, I'm super passionate about Wiz. I'm super passionate about, Taylor Gang and my other clients, but like, it's my decision ultimately. Like, I have to like it,
Yeah.
And it's a subjective thing. And
that's fair.
There's so much music. There's so much volume to stand out. Like, you got to stand out. And if you don't, you don't.
Yeah, I guess that's basically what it is, right? Mm-hmm. With all the saturation, you got to figure out the way to make yourself.
Everyone is a great musician. I'm fucking AI.
Yeah,
it doesn't even matter if you're not a good musician.
Yeah, that's wild.
Put it in Chat GPT.
That's really wild stuff. Sick. Like, you guys, talking about how like you're always on the cutting edge of things. It's like, are you ever like thinking about that stuff?
Oh yeah.
It's like what, like
we just wrote a video treatment.
Oh,
with
wow.
AI the other day. We were like, oh, yeah, that is a good fucking idea.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool to be open.
It took 4 minutes.
I know, it's wild. I wrote I've been starting to write like a few movie scripts with it just to like try to like learn how to use it, and it's like it's a cool resource to have. It's weird though.
It's weird.
Very weird.
Like, how are you this fucking smart?
Yeah.
It's scary.
Its computer could do it in a second. Mm-hmm. We did it where you could put in the ingredients that you have in your fridge, just random ingredients, and it'll come up with a recipe with the ingredients. You're like, it's done now. Now, do you ever play drums still?
No.
Never at all? Why not?
No. I just lost my love for live music.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
After Ryan passed, yeah. It's just like, I don't have my friend to like do this shit with anymore, so.
That's fair. Do you think there's you ready for the ending segment I do with everyone? I think we did pretty good at talking about how you kind of got to where things are today.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you holding here too long. Now,
dude, I love Pittsburgh. That's the only thing I want to do. I was very excited to be on this podcast, and thank you for having me too.
Absolutely. Well, we're not done yet. Ending segment that I do with everyone is an ending segment called Desert Island Questions. All right, desert island questions. Whenever I give each guest 3 categories to take with them on a desert island to use until they starve to death and die. First category, 3 movies to take on a desert island. So basically, you're Tom Hanks from Castaway. You get a DVD player, and you get 3 DVDs to play over and over and over again.
Waiting.
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie?
Fuck yeah.
Role Models and Half Baked.
Those are good ones. I just watched Role Models actually like 2 weeks ago because it was on Prime.
It just never gets old.
It's good. I mean, I like it. I love both of them, but it's definitely not my favorite.
Look, I'm a weird guy.
That's like, all right.
I laugh out loud at them. I'm like,
Waiting though is like, epic. It's an epic movie.
Epic. And the jokes, like the more you watch it, you really get every joke. You're like, that was funny as hell.
Yeah. There's all kinds of good ones from back in them days. Okay, second category is I usually ask people 3 books. Are you like a book person? Are you like a self-help type of person that listens to anything like that?
I'm a huge believer in mental health, but my mental health is do cardio every day.
Yeah.
Like I press that on people. If you have mental health issues, doesn't matter if you walk, if you run, do anything.
Well, I got audibles. So instead of 3 books, who are the 3 most starstruck you've been with the opportunities you've had with people you've met?
The Rock, number 1.
Yeah, that'd be wild, right?
I made the lamest comment ever. I was like, you're the most electrifying man in sports entertainment. Like, how many people have fucking said that to him? Like, and I never asked people for pictures. I was like, you're such a dork.
That's hilarious.
Plies.
Oh, wow.
Just because I've loved Plies forever. I was like,
that's wild.
Plies. And everyone's like, what? And who would be the 3rd? Prince.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's epic.
We did an award show, and Prince was standing behind us, and was like, "Yo, Prince right there."
That's a cool one.
But rappers, I normally don't. Plies, like I've listened to him forever, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's like that's wild. He's right there.
everyone's like, dude, what?
That's a good one. Okay, 3 CDs. If you
CDs.
only get 3 CDs for the rest of your life.
Something by like one of the Limp Bizkit albums. I forget what it was called.
Okay.
That shit was so tight.
Chocolate Starfish, hot dog flavored water.
Probably, yeah. 3 CDs. The Chronic.
Yeah.
That was a great album.
That was a good one for sure.
And Blink-182. I don't know which album, but something by Blink-182.
You met them?
I've met Travis.
Yeah. You're going to go see them?
Yep.
No, that's going to be pretty wild.
I'm not going to like hang out with them, but like,
Yeah, but that's going to be pretty wild to
I
go
love
see them
them,
again.
dude. Yeah.
I saw that they covered Taylor Swift. We're never getting back together. That's pretty sick.
that's funny. It's like,
Yeah, it's like a
for the
flex. Yeah, it's like a flex for him. That's cool. Okay, a couple more questions. What are 3 of your favorite places that you traveled?
Croatia, Oslo, Norway, and Brazil.
Pretty well. Ian's played there?
Yeah. Rio in Brazil.
Wow. What's the biggest crowd that you guys played?
We've played a crowd to 100,000 people before.
Jesus Christ.
It's scary. You're like, this is
Fuck.
unbelievable.
That's
Like-
crazy.
Like, I hate saying it this way, knock on wood, but it's like, if something bad happens, like, we're going to fire.
Did you ever see that video of DMX in the red jumper shorts where he's playing? It says DMX sells out a continent. How many people do you think were in that crowd? Around
Probably
that
about
much?
the same. Those European festivals are crazy. Like, we had a bad experience at this festival called Puckle Pop.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, we were playing in a tent. There's probably 50,000 people, and the storms were so bad, this tent started collapsing.
Oh, shit.
Scariest moment of my life. I was like, oh, fuck.
Wow. Did you ever,
Yeah,
were you
we had
ever
to
someone,
run.
were you ever someone that was like, had a fear of flying or anything?
I don't like heights, but I just like,
Yeah, you probably get over it not by now, but like I fucking hate planes. I couldn't imagine it. You guys are.
I don't mind
flying around
planes.
everywhere.
I don't mind turbulence. You're like, oh, this is like a roller coaster. Like,
You're
whatever.
Wow.
Like,
He said, I don't mind turbulence.
it's just like,
I'm
if
about to
we're
have
gonna
a heart
die, like,
attack.
what am I gonna do? Like,
Fuck that. Okay. Our third to last question is something called the Death Row Meal. Death Row Meal, you get to pick. It's the last one before you get put to death. You get an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. What would they be?
greens and beans as the appetizer from any Italian place in Pittsburgh. Because I just love greens and beans with sausage.
Yeah, Yoli's is the shit. You ever eat there?
No.
You got Yoli's in Jefferson Hills? Pff, greens and beans are off the chain.
All right, I gotta try it.
Yeah.
Of course. I mean, I guess everyone that knows me close, I guess I have to say chicken fingers.
Yeah, I'm a chicken fingers guy.
And then dessert,
Yeah.
some sort of chocolate, like a cookie. You know, do you know what a brookie is? Chocolate cookie and a brownie.
Oh, wow.
Mixed in one.
That's good. That's a good answer. Okay. Second to last question. If you're getting ready to go, you guys are going on tour, you go into a gas station for a snack. What is it?
What the fuck are they called? You know those cookies? It's like blue and white. It's like Mrs. Grandma's or something.
Oh, Grandma's cookies.
They're like 50 cents.
Yeah, right at the register.
Yep.
Yeah, there's 2 of them in there.
Yep.
Yeah, come on now. I know all
Those
about
are-
that.
Those are fire. That are almonds.
Yeah. Are you a big weed guy?
No.
No, I mean, well, I would, I would never know. There's some people that are like, yo, I can't smoke weed at all, but I
Yes.
assume that you'd probably get outcasted if you weren't, right?
Correct. Love weed.
Yeah. Now, what is last question? If you could have a conversation with anyone alive or dead, who would it be and why?
I'm trying to think of a good answer of a lot of people.
Yeah. If don't pick
Jesus Christ.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer.
He probably knows a lot of shit.
Probably knows a good bit of shit. Last question. I'm curious, just randomly, what are your 3 favorite Wiz projects?
Prince of the City 2 is my favorite.
Yeah.
Flight School and
yeah.
Christian Orange Juice.
Yeah. What do you think is the biggest crowd favorite? Like
biggest crowd favorite.
What
song?
What couple songs or do people like really like get fucking
The Thrill.
pumped? Yeah, it gotta
Young,
be
Wild and Free, and See You Again.
Yeah, I guess. See You Again. That's wild. Did you guys ever anticipate something like that?
I kind of knew it was going to be big. I hate saying it this way, but like,
why did you think
about
that?
a guy that passed who was like a global phenom. So it was such an honor to do it for him. And it was just like, you know, anything in remembrance of him is going to go big.
I guess that's a good point. Yeah. But it went, wasn't it like
crazy?
Yeah. Like that was
one of the biggest rap songs ever.
Yeah. That's pretty wild to think about.
Yeah.
Okay. I usually tell people to promote what they have to promote, but you know, everyone knows about you guys.
My Instagram is WGD6788. My Twitter is Real Taylor Gang. Follow Taylor Gang. Follow Wiz. A side project I never talk about, but watch Down Home Fab on HGTV with Chelsea and Cole. It's my side project.
What is that?
I manage a girl. I've managed her for a decade. She was on Teen Mom 2 for a while. We quit that about 4 years ago. Now we have an HGTV show. It's called Down Home Fab, and it's like...
Wait, is Chelsea from Teen Mom?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's
She's
cool.
Like her and her husband Cole are like some of my very close friends. They are incredible business people, and we've ran businesses together forever. It's just like a side hustle we do, and it's something, you know, it's something different than music that really gets my brain going. Like it's just a different puzzle.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more question. Just now that I'm curious about this, as someone who is like, you know, you have this platform and this opportunity to do these things. It's like, do you have experiences with people that are just like straight up grimy that like, you know, like how do you,
I'm in the music business.
I mean, I guess, but it's like, how do you avoid getting burned? You know, like
you don't, you
I
get
guess.
burned, but you have a good team, you know?
Yeah.
And it's all about looking at risk. Like I don't take chances where I'm like, is this guy probably going to burn me? Like,
yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I did that in the past, and now like I know what to look for. I'm like, hey, this is gonna be some bullshit. Fuck this shit.
Yeah.
Even if it sounds like, you know, such a nice opportunity, you're like, it's gonna be a fucking headache. Fuck this shit. And like, especially as we get older, it's like you only have so many days. Life is short. Like I don't want anything that I'm not super over excited about.
Yeah, that you're like obsessed with to be part of your everyday life.
Yep.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible.
It's fun.
I appreciate you coming over and talking to me.
Of course. Thank you for having me, man. This is awesome.
Absolutely.
Anything Pittsburgh, anything I can do, anything to support you, like whatever you need me to do, I'm always here.
It's appreciated for sure. Everyone else that's listening, appreciate it as usual. Each and every week back with another great guest doing great things in the city. Thanks for listening. Call you right back.